Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the final day of the regular season of Rocket League. Benson, and I'm losing my stuff, Rich.
We both are.
I don't know what's going on because
apart, throwing papers all over the place.
There's drama. There's a lot of drama going on right now. Let me break it down for you guys. Devoid just got absolutely demolished by Flipside. Not even going to talk about it. Expected it. They have a game scheduled for 7 p.m. against Swarm Gaming, where they need to steal one game or have a better goal difference than -12. And guess what? Jesus is looking over Devoid right now because Swarm Gaming cannot find their third player. Someone is missing, and by the rules in the league, you have 10 minutes after the game is due, otherwise you forfeit a match. If Swarm do not get in this lobby in 9 minutes' time, that means Devoid is going to playoffs.
Yeah, all right, so we have SL Express with us right now for a little bit of an interview. How are you doing,
I'm
SL?
done. This is like perfect. This is storylines everywhere. This is great. I'm just gonna smile. This is good. Shane, how you doing today?
Hey, great guys. How are you doing?
I'm losing my stuff over here because you would think after casting a one-sided game you'd be a little demoralized. Instead, storylines galore coming out. I mean, talk to me a little bit about that first game though. I know you were sat watching it. How did it go? What happened? Break it down.
Well, before we do that, I do want to make a shout out to Jacob and Used Wolf and Elmer Fudd. They're all watching on your shoutcast.
Hey.
And from what I understand, they're actually in the process of buying a plane ticket and they're flying to Switzerland to track down Stocky 1997.
Okay.
It's done, by golly. They're going to make sure that Stocky shows up for this game. They don't want to see a forfeit. They don't want to see their dreams. You got to let your dreams. You can't just let your dreams be dreams. You got to go for it. And I've got confidence they're going to get this done.
I'm in such unbelievable shock that everything that is going on right now. It is literally the storylines. This is why I love esports, man. The final day, the literal final day. Everything comes down to this for Devoid Gaming. And all of a sudden,
what's the top 5 gonna look like?
Someone
just like
one
car missing.
All right, but this is where it gets even more interesting, right? Because let's say Swarm do have to forfeit a game.
Yeah.
Not only does that mean Devoid guarantee themselves qualification into the playoffs, it also means Flipside and Swarm would then be tied at the top. So if they miss the first game, then goal difference for Swarm Gaming becomes massive. Yeah. Because we just saw a monumental destruction from Flipside. They already had the lead in goal difference as well. You add on 26 goals onto the 34 they already had. Swarm is going to need to have a goal fest if they're going to have any chance of that #1 seed.
This issue, too, if they can't find a sub, they might have to forfeit more than one game.
Yeah.
And if that happens...
I mean, Shane... like I said, I'm losing my stuff over here. I don't know how you're staying as calm as you are, because I know you love the game, you love the esport. What happens? What happens in this scenario, in your opinion?
Well, one thing we're leaving out, so Swarm Gaming and Supersonic Star, Euronics as they're called now, the Euronics traded players really early on in the season. You know, Siki Sim for Stocky, and there's some ties there. I think really it would be almost. I think Swarm would actually look forward to being the #2 seed. I think they'd rather face the. I think they'd rather face Shazoo rather than or rather than Euronics when it comes down to it. So I don't think they'd be disappointed with a #2 seed, frankly. That's my opinion. I think Flipside would really like to have that #1 seed. I just don't think it's as important to Swarm Gaming.
Not as important to Swarm Gaming.
So let's talk about those first matches. I wasn't too surprised. I think one of the biggest surprises, and it didn't seem that way because it was the first game almost of the entire tournament. But I think the big surprise looking back was actually Perfect Storm running up that 3-2 victory in the first game against Flipside. I think that's one of the biggest underdog wins of the entire tournament, that they were able to pull that out. And you can just see when Flipside is on a roll like they were this time, they're really tough to beat. They just keep coming at you and coming at you and coming at you. And there's, frankly, the team that comes the closest to that is Swarm Gaming, which we're about to see if Stocky ever shows up.
I mean,
but you'll see a very similar style. It's different because they don't have quite the passing that Flipside does, but nobody does. but you'll have the 3 players in the box all the time. You'll see Rapid going up and down, and a lot of spectacular plays, a lot of spectacular aerials. So you see a lot of the same stuff.
I mean, just to kind of go back to waiting for the full squad, there is now 5 minutes remaining before the first forfeit comes in. 5 minutes. And what sucks here is if you're on Perfect Storm.
Yeah.
Right.
They're about to potentially lose that playoff spot due to a forfeit when everything was looking so good for them. Like, that negative 26 goal difference from the first game was massive. You have to kind of look at Swarm Gaming versus Devoid. No disrespect to Devoid, but they're going to score a lot of goals. Like, negative 12 goal difference across 6 games. It's negative 2 per game. Like, you expect that in actual fact. A couple of players are spawning in now. All of Devoid,
maybe we don't have a
all of Devoid are in the game, and I believe they have a sub. Bohem 57.
What do you know about him, SL?
I don't know him. So
I don't know him either.
I don't know what's going on with him.
We need to check that that's official, because you have to officially have your subs. Ethan, TD, it's down to you, my friend. He's going to be... It's apparently he says it's official.
All right.
So the game is actually going to get underway. Well, SL Express, do you know anything at all about him, or absolutely nothing?
Did you say, I'm not looking at the screen. Can you spell out his name for me?
It's Bohem 57. Bohem 57.
Yeah, good player. I can't remember what team he plays. I'll look it up.
Okay.
He plays for a team on a regular basis. I'll look it up and have it for you at the next break.
Well, it appears to not be hurting him too bad. Debo already scoring.
Yeah, Debo's mum plays Rocket League, apparently. Has already scored a goal in the first 30 seconds. And if I'm Perfect Storm right now, I am watching this bouncing up and down on my chair. I am so excited that this didn't come down to a forfeit. There was, I believe, 3 minutes left before the game started, and it would have been a forfeit, and Perfect Storm would have been eliminated. Now, game starts, 30 seconds in. You know, the team you're trying to track, Devoid, is already 1-0 down. That reduces that goal difference now down to 11. They can only concede 11 more goals. God damn, this is awesome.
We're seeing some pressure, though. We're seeing a little bit of pressure from Devoid Gaming right now, and they are playing against the team that has a sub. They might be able to pull one out.
Maybe. Shane, in terms of that, do you think that maybe they have a chance of winning this somehow? Because that's all they need. 1 win in the next 6 games and they qualify for playoffs.
Yeah, I think they've got a shot. It's a long shot, but I think they have a better shot against Swarm than they did against Flipside, because Swarm can sometimes play with a little less. They don't control their goal as well as Flipside does. Flipside has some amazing saves, and sometimes Swarm will leave the goal open a little bit more. So yeah, I think they have a shot. But I mean, they got to. Swarm has to be down a little, and this new guy in there. I mean, that's going to help a ton. Stocky's big on providing that pressure, and Bohem, as good as he is not nearly as good as Stocky 1997 at this stuff. So we'll see how that changes things and how it goes. But I think Swarm has a shot at taking a game. If you held a gun to my head, I'd say it's Swarm in 6. But I think that Devoid Gaming has a shot at pulling a game out here.
Yeah, Octanes did just manage to knock one in. Still down 2-1. But like you said, Stocky not being there too, Stocky's kind of been a galvanizing player for this team. Once they actually got him in the trade, everything kind of started to look up for them.
Right.
How big was that trade, Shane, in your honest opinion?
I mean, frankly, it was a good trade for Euronics, too. I mean, Sicky Sim is a great defender, and he can score, but he reminds me a lot of Kyle Mask, for Kings of Urban, where he really is comfortable in that goalie spot and strikes only kind of when the opportunity arises. Whereas Stocky's an incredible, aggressive force of nature out there. I mean, we call it hamming it up, and he'll go out there and just freestyle it and go after the ball and go after scores from anywhere on the pitch, and that's just not Sicky Sim's game. So Swarm has really made a big surge in terms of how they compete with Flipside, and ever since that trade, it was huge for them, and it was a good trade for Euronics too. I think both teams are very happy.
I mean, they definitely look a much more dominant and kind of challenging team, that's for sure. Just to kind of update everyone in this game, it's still 2-1 in favor of Swarm. 2.5 minutes left. This is a North American server as well. Do bear that in mind. So Swarm doing everything they can to play against the ping. 152 from Deboa, or Deboa's mum, who may actually be playing Rocket League right now. Unsure which. We'll try and clarify. But again, this is such a crazy, crazy ending to the Pro League, of course. After this game as well, Cosmic Aftershock versus VQ Untethered. Shane, seems, I have you here. We're having a good conversation. In terms of that game, how do you see that one panning out?
Well, I've been excited about this one all season long. I think this is what we've been leading up to. This is the two Titans. I compared it in my write-up to Carthage and Rome. These are the two Titans of the league going against each other head-to-head. And I favor Cosmic Aftershock, but that's because they've had the edge the last couple of times they played. But it's been met up, and Cosmic Aftershock took that one 4-2. Okay. So all 6 of those players are the very best you can have, or know each other's style extremely well. So who executes?
Super excited for that one.
Good.
Literally cannot wait. Of course, that's going to follow this 6-game series. For now, though, Rich, heading into the final minute of game time, it's still 2-1. It is possible for Devoid to try and take this one to overtime, be the best chance of winning a game that they've had. Do they do it?
I really don't think so. Just watching how they're playing right now, we're seeing players into each other.
Negative Nancy.
I have been the most optimistic. I have lost 4 Chipotle burritos due to optimism. I have learned my lesson. I do not think they are going to pull this one out.
I mean, it's about time you learned your lesson, to be honest with you.
You have taught me, Sensei.
I mean, it's just, again, all about keeping the goal difference down. I said they can see 2 goals. They've got the ball. Oh my God, just whisks across the line. Low 5 couldn't find the angle.
Dangerous. Koog up in the air.
Oh, Koogie's absolutely botched that. That's not pretty. However, the ball bouncing. Can Deboa get there? Yes, he can. It looked dangerous for a second, and it still is in dangerous territory. 16 seconds left. Ball up on the goal line again, but they just can't find the back of the net. Octane, he goes up, puts the ball back into the box of Swarm Gaming. They're desperately trying to defend this one away. Deboa goes up. Can he clear it? Yes, he can. And that should be the end of game number 1. A 2-1 victory, but it was definitely a little closer there towards the end.
Yeah, maybe they're starting to find their rhythm. Maybe they come back and win one. But I will say, Bohem 57 does not look bad. He managed to score 1 goal there. And he was filling the holes in their lineup that he needed to fill. He was rotating well. When DeBoer wasn't in position, or Pesci wasn't in position because they were cheating up the line, trying to be more aggressive, you would see Bohem dropping back. And he was coming up and making those offensive plays. So maybe it's not going to be as much of a deficit as we initially thought.
Okay.
But, yeah, Shane, what do you think? How much of that game did you actually get to see?
None. I was sitting here. I've been concerned about the stream, so I don't have the stream going in the background. But I'm not surprised. They really need to take one of these next 2 games, because once you go over to the EU server, it's just going to make it a lot tougher on them. And you saw what happened against Flipside when they went to the EU server on that one. So one of these next 2 games is going to be critical. They really need to step it up here and take one now, and that relieves the pressure from them, and then they can just go out and play.
How much pressure do you really think it is on the boys at Devoid right now? Just to, some of the new viewers.
I mean, they look, Pro League is, and I don't want to, but Pro League is the premier event in the Rocket League community right now. Everybody follows it. Everybody watches it. It's a big distinction when they advertise their different streams or whatever. The Devoid guys talk about Pro League. The Perfect Storm people talk about Pro League. It's a big deal, and to miss the playoffs, it's going to be a step back for whoever misses the playoffs here.
Something we're seeing from Devoid a lot, though, is them. It seems like they're not communicating well. Have you seen anything like that from them earlier in the season? Them like not being in position or like being cluttered around the ball. What is that?
Well, to me, what I've seen is that Coogie Cougs is kind of the field general. I don't want to say he stays back like a defender, but when he's back and he can see the whole field, he tends to say, okay, low 5, you get that one. Okay, Octane, that's yours. Okay, I've got it. And because he's the supersonic acrobatic rocket powered battle car guy, both low 5 and Octane defer to him. And right now he's not feeling well at all. And I mean, he's got a hacking cough. It's you know, he's really trying his hardest to compete here, and I don't know that that's affecting comms. What I do know is that they're not playing, but 2-1, that's a good score. It's just part of it is going against Flipside, and they're so disruptive, and no one plays that fast. It's hard to prepare for that. So I think you will see them settle down. I think they'll be okay. I think if they can get a game here in these next 2 games, I think we can move on and say, okay, they made it.
I mean, I want to agree with you. I really do, but game number 2 is already spiraling out of control for Devoid. It's a 3-0 lead within the first minute, essentially. We're now a minute and a half into the game, but really, it just seems like Devoid just can't keep up with the pace of Swarm. And
right.
You were completely right when you said, Flipside played just very, very fast, and you could completely see it, especially in that game 6. Devoid just crumpled. They just couldn't handle the pressure of Flipside, but Swarm now kind of getting into the rhythm of things. Doesn't really seem like Bohem has been too much of an issue. He's already scored 2 for this game. And honestly, if I'm the boys over at Perfect Storm, who, of course, sat in 5th place right now, I am sat watching this stream. I am loving every second. I got my popcorn out, making my hot cocoa.
Yeah, and now that you've mentioned Perfect Storm, we keep talking about Devoid Gaming actually getting into the playoffs. Do they deserve it?
Who?
After what we've watched right now, Devoid, do they deserve to make it to the playoffs?
Well, remember, Rich, when Perfect Storm and Devoid went head-to-head, Perfect Storm went up on them 2-0, and then Devoid came back and won 4 games in a row. So, between the 2 teams, one of them has to go, and I think that Devoid Gaming, on the basis of that series and going 4-2, if they can win 1 game here, I think they're fine in earning that position. And look, either one of these teams is going to get destroyed by whoever's the number 1 seed. That's going to happen. Whether it's Untethered or Cosmic Aftershock, they will lose in that first round.
Hey man, upsets happen, Shane. Upsets happen, okay? I'm all about the upsets. And speaking of upset, right now Devoid are getting very upset. 4-0. It's spiraling out of control. It really is. Going into this game, of course, this is game number 2 of the series. The goal difference was at -11 to tie. Add another 4. This is getting painful. It really is, guys. It's now at -7, and they still have 4 games to play.
Like SL said, this next game is very crucial, because then we're
just basically then it is over. Yeah, then you go over to European server, and I don't think you stand a chance. But a lot of players, Shane, have kind of talked about how ping isn't really that much of an issue. From everything that you've kind of seen statistically as well, how big of a factor actually is it?
Well, it can be a factor. I think the main thing is that the players understand what it's like. To be honest with you, especially on the EU servers, you see a lot of comments from the EU players that even when they're playing on their own server and even when the ping is good, they can have some rubber banding issues. And it's just something you got to deal with. I do know that compared to a first-person shooter, yep. I think that's where a lot of the community talks about it, is that compared to first-person shooter, the ping is workable. You can deal with the latency, you can deal with it a little bit better. When you're dealing with a first-person shooter, it's everything. So yeah. I think with Rocket League, it's fine. And I think the big thing is that people like competition, and they really enjoy that EU NA competition. I think the way y'all set it up is perfect. I think y'all made it very fair, and people get excited about it. They want to see these two, the 2 regions compete against one another. So I think it's fine.
Well, we did see Kugi able to actually find the back of the net there, so Devoid do a little bit of damage limitation. I think winning this game is completely out of reach. 4-1, of course, the score, but again, if they can just keep that goal difference as low as possible, they may still make it. This would be awesome if it went all the way to that game 6 and the goal difference was like tied or at 1. It would be insane. Give me a game 6 overtime. That's all I want, as Pashi finds the back of the net again, increases it back to 4. I can basically hear all the perfect. So I'm saying, shut up, Ben. So we don't want overtime. We want to guarantee our qualification. You want to be good. Just make it to the playoffs, man. That's where you want to be if you're in the Pro League. Final 30 seconds, though, Rich. What is basically going on in the game now?
I really just think Devoid Gaming lost their magic. Been waiting to say that one for a while.
Are you serious? You've just come out with the worst pun of all puns.
Not a pun.
It's a terrible pun. I play on words pun. Call it what you want. That was absolutely awful. You're going to hell. 100%. Did Ethan tell you to say that? Ethan told you to say that. I was gonna say Ethan's the smart one here.
Thanks,
right?
Dad.
I can see Ethan being the clever one. But this game over, 5-1 the scoreline, a -4 goal differential. So it will be -7 with 4 games left to play. SL Express, I'm gonna put you on the spot. Who qualifies? Perfect Storm or Devoid Gaming?
What perfect storm? I mean, I've always said that I think that this goes 12-0 today against Devoid, that they win them. But yeah, there's a shot. That's not where I'd put my money on.
Okay, interesting. Well, Shane, massive thank you for coming onto the show.
You bet.
Giving us all of the insider intel, the informations. Really, really appreciate it. We're going to let you go. Enjoy the rest of your evening and find out exactly who will qualify, whether it will be Devoid or Perfect Storm. We're jumping into a game number 3 right now. And again, goal difference is going to be the name of the game of these next 4 games. You're going to hear us talk about it a lot, but it is so, so crucial for both of these 2 teams trying to make it to the playoff. Well, I say both these 2 teams. One's already made it. But for Devoid Gaming and Perfect Storm, trying to make it to the playoffs. I mean, -7, Rich. That's the goal difference right now that they have to play with. How do you feel about it? We kind of heard Shane's opinions. Who qualifies?
I agree with him. I really do agree with him here.
You do?
Yeah.
So we're saying goodbye to Devoid?
I think we were going to.
Again, if they win 1 game, doesn't matter which game, that's all they need. 1 win,
and this
will
match
qualify.
is their best chance.
This last map, yeah, completely agree. This is their last chance at really securing that. Game 1 was a 2-1 loss. Game 2 was a 5-1 loss. And DeBoa already finding the back of the net here within the first 50 seconds of the game. 1-0.
Yeah, no one in net either managed to pull them out of position with the earlier aggression. Yeah, I don't know. It's 4 minutes and 13 seconds. We're already seeing a goal. I don't think that we are going to see them pull this off. If this is really going to happen right now, then.
All right, so 4 minutes left. You're looking over at the ball. It's looking very good for Swarm to just continuously apply the pressure.
Yeah, Pashy's trying to put it in there. But we are seeing them march it out of their side. Right now. All right, back to the game. Sorry about that. I'm having control room yell at me, thanks to you. At least I don't have music playing in my ear right now. All right, we're seeing Pashy try to apply the pressure here, but he's just not going to be able to get it. But he's not giving up. Oh, this one's going to go right in. Bohem managing to score another goal. He's like their leading goal scorer right now as a sub. Impressing me a lot. Actually, in the control room, if you could look up what team Bohem is usually on, I'm kind of curious to see what else he's been up to. I'm going to switch my camera over to Coogie Cougs right now. If anyone's going to score a goal right now for Devoid Gaming, it would be Coogie.
Why'd you say that?
He had a 61% conversion rate until this match. But we're not really seeing that player tonight. Like SL said, he was feeling under the weather. We knew that earlier. We thought he might actually need to get a sub, but he showed up. How much does that affect you when you're playing Rocket League? Oh, right now, Coogie with the shot.
I mean, it's 2-0 currently in terms of the game. 2 minutes, 40 seconds left, so you're essentially halfway through. Pashy's going to find the back of the net. Surely no! Whiffs it top right. Couldn't find it. That would have increased the lead to 3 there. So a big sigh of relief for the boys over on Devoid, but they need to find a goal of their own. They cannot afford to have this goal difference looking tense as they head over towards a European service for the final 3 games.
Just switched my camera back over to Bohem. The guys in the control room were just telling me he's a French player.
Okay.
And
El Français.
Yeah, and he's very high ranked. He's very high ranked in 3v3s. he's really showing off here right now. He doesn't have a team, though.
Doesn't have a team, so
Yeah.
just sitting on the bench, being a classic bench warmer, comes on and
he's playing ladder, but just by himself, queuing with randoms, and he's still doing well.
that is absurd.
Well, it does explain how he's been able to kind of find his place in this team so well.
Yeah, I guess that makes perfect sense. You know, when you're out there solo queuing and then you just kind of jump into the action.
He's fit in very well. Oh, big
He
demolition there. He's going to try to put the pressure on. They do manage to knock it out, but the ball's staying on Devoid's half.
And 30 left in the game. 2-0. Big shot on target. Can Octanes find the finish? No, he can't. Bohem with the save.
Beautiful
Pashy
aerial.
tries to get it out, and oh no, Octanes has completely missed that one. Pashy's going to pass it back to Bohem. Pressure on. 2 players go for it. Shot on target. This should be a goal. It is 3-0 now. The scoreline. Devoid once again crumbling towards the end of the game.
Yeah, I really don't know what they can do to fix it here. We keep seeing more and more pressure as they're actually ramping up, Swarm Gaming, that is. Right now, switching my camera to Devor.
Oh, it's going to be Pashy. He's going to find the back
Pashy's
of the net
gonna-
again. No, he doesn't.
Devor's going to finish.
Ball goes in, and oh my god, Devoid in the final minute, 20 seconds, in almost every single game, we've seen them completely collapse. Now the goal difference is at -3. They have 3 goals. They can, if it stays like this, they can only lose the next 3 games by 1 goal.
Which
On a
just
European host against
it's
a
just not
Swarm.
going to happen.
Perfect storm. I am laughing right now if I am you guys.
I'm still biting my nails.
Oh, a goal! Low 5 finds the back of the net. Little bit of lady luck comes in, but it's still a goal nevertheless from his own
So
side.
we can't even call that luck. I really, that goal might be luck, but it's not going to change the tides for them.
I don't know, man. Every goal counts. When it gets tense like this, every single goal is crucial. You're not looking for them to win this game, but
If I am Perfect Storm right now, I am biting my nails.
I'm not. I'm feeling good. Feeling real
But
good.
I think they're going to be all right. You cannot tell me completely out of your control you wouldn't be biting your nails right now.
I'd be like 70% sure that
Oh,
we're going
wow.
through. DeBoa, well, now to make that 75% sure I'm going through. 45 seconds left. The goal difference is at 4. Once
Yeah,
again.
they're trying to score right now, but you need to get back faster than that. Even if you're trying to be aggressive, you need to have someone falling back in the rotation. They're overcommitting.
Honestly, I think what we're going to see in the next 3 games is completely populist mentality. If I'm Devoid Gaming, you know you're not going to win. You just got to make sure you don't concede. Play super defensive. Yeah, I think
I think
you almost
Swarm
have
Gaming
to.
will be able to play around it, though. I think Swarm Gaming pretty
think?
much has their number at this point. Yeah, I really do. Especially once they get the favor of host, too. And this new Bohem is only getting more and more used to this team. Like, they had no chance to warm up. And he's their leading goal scorer right now. He's getting to know the players better and better. I think they're just going to run away with it at this point.
The interesting thing for me is he's from France.
There's Bohem with another
Communication must be such a pain in the ass right now.
goal. I'm curious. He's probably not even. It's probably not even in a voice chat. I don't know what they're doing for comm right
I mean,
now.
that's his 2nd goal of the game. DeBoa with 4. And goal difference now at 5. Which means it's a -2 going into the European service for the final 7 seconds. It's all they have, which
3
just
seconds
which,
remaining.
when you think about it, -2 can't happen.
Yeah, I mean,
You need to.
at that
They
point,
now at this
need
point
to win.
they need to
They
win
really
a game.
do.
They need to win a game to have any chance of qualifying. Ladies and gentlemen, you couldn't write this stuff if you tried. It is absolutely awesome.
Really glad they got Bohem, though. That would have been terrible if it ended up coming down to
would.
a forfeit.
Well, for now, we're going to go over to a quick commercial break because we need to change over to a European server and see if Devoid can somehow take a win off Swarm Gaming. If they don't and they lose the next 3 games, they will not qualify. Perfect Storm will. Be right back.